Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party. Hey, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole of Research. Down here in the basement studio, we are all crewed up. You have me, Joe.
Yeah, I got Nick.
We've got Nick.
Georgia.
We've got Georgia.
You got Mary.
We've got Mary, and we have a very special guest joining us.
I'm Ernie.
Hi, Ernie.
Yeah. I don't know what else you'd like me to say. I guess currently a rocket scientist, engineer working on lunar landers, formerly planetary geophysicist, studied lava tubes and volcanoes and did a whole bunch of field work with that. So a lot of time on the ground and, you know, a lot of time on top of the ground too, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you make it sounds like, oh, yeah, rocket engineer.
Yeah, that was the most casual.
Right. It's just like,
yeah.
everyday
sometimes
thing,
underground and rockets and stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's your expertise will come in. This episode is about the challenges of humans exploring other worlds, living in caves, underground, terrestrial, extraterrestrial. We see that in fiction a lot where people are escaping to the underground. So thought that would be a fun one to dig into. And you already
Get it? Dig
Yeah.
into-
Well,
yeah.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
It's so
Someone
early.
got it. Yeah, so usually I start with my little monologue to get into the episode. But actually, before I do that, I do want to say, and I don't know if people know, but today went the day of recording, Artemis II launched successfully. And so for me, it was pretty exciting. It was 72 was the last time we sent people to the moon.
Okay.
So that was a little before I was born. And I'm sure you're excited. You still are in the business of sending people into space. And so how's that feel?
yeah, it's an exciting day for all of us like that. I mean, everybody should be excited about this, in my opinion. But personally, I'm incredibly excited. I've been looking forward to this since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like you, Joe, we were all born just after they did this in Apollo, grew up being told that, hey, your generation is going to carry on to the moon and Mars and all this. And now we've been waiting 50 years to actually get the chance to carry on with this. And we're there. We're on the doorstep. We got a crew of 4 out there orbiting Earth now. It's the Orion spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
The second launch through what's called the SLS, NASA's big, huge moon rocket. And they rode that off into orbit. They're going to stay in orbit around Earth for about I think a little less than a day.
Mm-hmm.
They're get some rest, and then they're going to wake up in 4 or 5 hours, then fire up their engines again, and start bumping their way off to the moon. But yeah, I mean, my work ties directly to this. All goes right, we will be waiting for them very soon in one of these future missions, and one of these very soon next missions. Getting some testing done on our vehicle, on the lander that we're putting together, and it's Blue Origin and SpaceX. We're both working on lunar landers for the astronauts for NASA. And so, yeah, it's exciting. We needed this step. They're going to go out there, going to go fly out around the moon and come back 10 days. And like I say, next one, hopefully, I don't know if you heard, the administrator a week ago basically said that, and the next time that SLS with Orion launches, the idea is to dock with the landers in Earth orbit.
Right.
And then the next one after that would be the idea to land on the moon. And it's either going to be us, Blue Origin, or SpaceX with the lander that'll be waiting for them at the moon.
Well, that's really exciting. Yeah.
So cool.
Pretty cool.
It is. No, that's nice. Get your ticket and the moon base, right? That's the ultimate plan
Is it going to be underground?
It's going to be.
It's going to start on ground, above ground, on ground, above ground. You asked about underground, and actually there's papers going back to 70s, 60s, and there are these caves underground. So I don't know if we want to get into that right now or not, but yeah, there's advantages to eventually putting them underground on the moon and Mars and other places, but it also takes a lot of equipment and stuff there to be able to do that. It's a lot easier to set it on the surface and a little bit harder to get it underground. So yeah, we can get into that whenever you want. But yeah, we can talk about that.
I mean, we can.
I do have to say something before we move on. Is I watched the takeoff with my daughter today, and she was so enthralled. Like, she was already asking if she can watch another one and if she can fly one. And I was like,
That's awesome.
this is how you get that obsession.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to see what triggers her and be like, oh yeah, this is something that's going to be one of those lifelong things where you're just so enthralled by space.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We
Right.
would start the episode there since it's happening.
The memory
Wednesday,
should have
so-
that.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's
Well, let's continue
So
with
here's
that thread with underground caves on the moon, right?
That's
Well,
what went
and
to
I
you,
think
right?
Joey,
Right.
we're gonna set it up, right?
I was. I mean, we can. I mean, if people
Don't-
are
Just gonna cut right
champing
to
at the
the
bit, I
chase.
know. Mary's always just ready to go.
Just boom.
Just like
Get right to it.
Come
don't need
on,
to hear
Joe,
this thing.
enlighten us.
every instinct humans have was designed for open spaces, to scan the horizon for predators, to navigate by the stars in the night sky, to race the wind. And yet every culture has a word for what's below. The Greeks had Hades, the Maya had Xibalba. Both describe the doorways to the underworld. And before any of that, our ancestors were crawling hundreds of meters into the earth to paint on walls where no natural light ever reached. We don't fully know why, we just know they went. Maybe it was for shelter, the thrill of the unknown, connection to our ancestors, a place of punishment, or where dark things hide. Fiction has been obsessed with it forever, from Verne sending explorers through a volcano to a sea that shouldn't exist, to Tolkien building entire civilizations inside mountains, to current sci-fi imagining our first footholds on Mars and other outer worldly planets. And going underground isn't just hand-wavium device. It might be an important survival strategy, because on Earth and off-world, they can provide ready-made shelter, radiation shields, and thermal regulation. But are humans or any other terrestrial life built for a life closed in and isolated from the open? But what if underground is our last refuge or a new home? What would it actually take to make life find a way in the deepest caves on Earth or the lava tubes of a strange new world?
Yes.
That's it. That's where we're at. So we're headed that way.
We
the
better
moon.
start digging.
We better start digging.
I heard Bigfoot likes to live in cave
Bigfoot
systems.
lives in caves. Yeah,
That's why we can't find them.
That's exactly why. Oh.
There. Maybe the start, and if you like, what is a cave? How's a cave form? Maybe let's start on Earth. Let's start there for folks.
Yeah.
I looked this up and I really didn't know.
Yeah, there's just two primary types of caves, maybe say on Earth. One is a kind of a karst type of cave, like a limestone formation where you have water and precipitates, and it's basically eroding the volume under the ground. And that's in like a more damp type of environment. Or you got also the ones that actually I did all of my research on, which are lava tubes.
Mhm.
They're formed in volcanic lava flows, and there's a couple of different ways those are formed. So they can either be kind of an inflation where fluid of the base of the lava comes out and it basically inflates, and the outer skin of it, because it's contacting the air, cools faster, so it actually starts to solidify. So you get this kind of a basically like a skin over top the outer edge, the outer surface of the lava flow. And it actually then starts causing an insulating effect. So it keeps the fluid lava molten
Right.
and flowing through it as the outer skin thickens. And as it thickens, it gains structural integrity into the point that it gets thick enough that it's able to support its own weight. And then the way that the tube in this case forms is that downstream, essentially downflow of the lava, there's an outlet where the source lava stops producing out of the earth, the molten lava stops coming out, but it's still flowing down the hill. It maintains high enough temperature that stays molten, and then this continues to flow all the way down and out the end of the tube where a hole is basically essentially formed, and then you just get this big void of a inflated lava flow that you can walk across the surface and you won't know it. It'll look
Wow.
just like any of the other lava flows, and assuming it's thick enough, you don't fall through, which is a good thing. But there are collapses that'll form in it, holes there where it's weak. There's even parts where when it's forming just won't solidify completely, and they'll be called skylights. So after the lava goes out, it's since there are these holes either through collapse or during the formation that are still there. And these can be, there's different sizes, there's tiny little ones you couldn't even crawl through. There's big ones that are, 10 plus meters in diameter, more than that even. There's another way that they can actually form is that very high flow, lava flow can form a trench. And essentially you get filled up on either side. Some keeps it kind of like a river of lava. And as it's the same effect where you get a cooling across the top surface, kind of like a river in wintertime. And you get that ice forming across the top. and it will start building up, and it can zipper up actually from the edges to the center line. And then you get that same effect where you get a buildup of thickening, an increase in thickness there where it's structurally sound. Again, the lava drains out of it downstream, and those can be quite large too. I've been in some that are 20 meters in diameter, or even slightly better here on Earth.
So is the lava like?
yeah.
Does it just constantly flow? Is it like it flows like water, right? Like,
Well, I mean, it flows. Yeah. Maybe not quite like water, but yeah, it flows. And it's just an eruption from a volcano or, a vent basically.
so it
And
dries out, right? Like,
it stops flowing eventually. It's like
Okay.
any volcanic eruption. It only lasts so long. And once it stops, then
Oh.
if it doesn't have a way to drain out, it just solidifies in place eventually and just a big lava flow at that point. So,
After the primary tube is made, what's the chances that another lava flow event will happen? So you put people in there. Are they always
Yeah.
like, get out of here? What's the...
yeah, no, that's a good question because actually they do get reused basically,
Mhm.
assuming that the eruptive center has a source of lava that can come up and flow out of it. Magma can come up and flow out as lava. And you get interesting features sometimes when that happens. So you'll get like benches. If it doesn't completely fill it, you'll get a solidifying effect along the edges where you get these things
wow.
called benches. It literally looks like a bench along the edges. You'll get what looks like icicles falling from the ceiling. It's just kind of, it's molded, it's dripped down, but it's solidified just like
Mhm.
an icicle does in wintertime. And you'll guess they're called lava sickles, we call them. I don't know if that's really a technical term, but that's what we like to call them. Well, then you get other like formations on the surface, and that frozen lava flow. It's may only be, a few inches thick or something on the surface, on the floor. But yeah, but eventually, if the source of it is no longer available, then there's
Right.
no longer a danger
I
of
see.
it
I
being
see.
reused. It's kind of like on basically the volcanic, to our knowledge, volcanic eruption, volcanic capability on the moon is basically over at this point. It's cooled to the point that anything that's molten is so far down under the crust,
I see.
we don't think there's a way for it to get up. We don't see evidence of
Right.
volcanism. There's some debate on that, but in general, there's nothing that indicates recent volcanism. So we find these types of things, and we've found, skylights, collapsed pits, and things like that on the moon. And we know there's void space in either direction. We just don't know if it like goes on and on a tube or not. But
Right.
there's evidence on Mars as well, essentially. So yeah, there can most likely be a lot larger though too on these locations. But the moon, the gravity is so much less. We actually expect them to be. I mean, one researcher did just a structural calculation on them that they could be hundreds of meters across. We're talking where, 200, 300, 400 meters across. Ones that we know where we see these collapsed pits, there's one Marius Hills hole, and we suspect that there's lava tubes there, and there's these holes where the ceiling is essentially like 25 meters thick. There's 40 meters of void space underneath, and we know it goes off in either direction. We just don't know if it's just a hole or if it actually goes as a tube. But it's, compared to Earth, they're enormous. That it can be enormous. There's small ones too. Just like on Earth, a whole range of sizes.
how long have we known that there was like lava on the moon? Because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't know that either.
Way back.
Yeah.
I always thought it was cheese.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that, but
You're gonna go Harry Carey for that one.
Yeah. Gotta have jokes.
If it could be, what kind of cheese could it be?
Well, that was
Which one? Oh, yeah, it depends. For the Swiss cheese?
a trip to the moon, right? In the early 1900s. Then they catapulted a cannon rocket there. So no realistic escape velocity, but they didn't make it to the moon. And they crack in, but I think they go into a cave with the little creatures in there.
I think.
And I think that is.
okay.
It was
I
like
think
a
you're right.
lava tube. I mean, I think that's what the
But
cave
did they
or
base it on that they knew that was on the moon, or they just that was?
I don't know when they figured out lava tubes.
Yeah, and that was probably more of a guess.
I think that was-
Yeah.
It was a good guess, though. I mean, that
yeah,
was.
I think that was just the story.
But I remember that 'cause
Yeah.
it smacked with, it was like hit the eye or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
Right.
that was
very iconic image of
right,
that.
right, right. But yeah, it was. They went in. They
Was that the
cracked it in.
Jules Verne or something?
Yeah, Jules Verne. That was the center. That was Journey
That
to the
was
Center of
the-
the Earth. That was in the 1800s, right? 1850s or something like that.
I don't
I
know.
think I only know the Brandon Fraser one.
to brand.
The 1980s or whatever it was.
Yeah, I
no.
don't 90s. I think
90s, you're right.
Brandon Fraser was more 90s.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm sure there was quite a few renditions of that story.
Yes, I think they went in through a volcano. That was a Journey to the Center of the Earth. They went in through a volcano, then they went down, and then they found there was like dinosaurs down there, and then they had, and then they found the river. Yeah, they had then the sea. They found like a sea, and then there was a sun. So it was like there was a sun down there, and they had a whole.
I feel like the new King Kong film did that too, didn't they?
Where I think that like and the Ice Age one, or was it Ice Age, where they had the crack and they went in, and then that was like all of the dinosaurs and stuff were down there. It was like a whole nother world. I think it was Ice Age.
I don't know.
Ice Age 3 or 4 or 7. I don't know where they're at with that, but.
Well, so
I went King Kong, you went Ice Age. Yeah.
These lava tubes. Does anyone actually inhabit lava tubes?
Are you trying to set yourself up for extremophiles?
No.
Well,
you're gonna take that.
I will say that's one of the things that live in caves are extremophiles. So especially microorganisms.
I
think there's more biocarbon mass from living microorganisms in caves than there is terrestrially on the Earth. I think it's like not even close. Yeah. So there's a lot of life, especially microorganism life. Microorganism life.
Yeah, microorganism life.
Microscopic.
Microscopic. There it is. I don't know why I was. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I know some of the folks I work with actually are studying that. Like some of the lava tubes we've been in, there's actually, if you ever get a chance, Lava Beds National Monument out in Northern California. It's this beautiful place near Medicine Lake, and it's got some of the tubes there. They're called like one of their names is Golden Dome. You go in this place, and the bio growth in there, literally, it just looks like it's covered in a sheen of gold, and it's just beautiful, amazing the way it sparkles in the light and things like that. So, yeah, there's definitely, and there's some of the folks I work with are studying that and studying other like you say, microbes and microbial growth and such. And they're using various techniques, ultraviolet lighting and things like that to illuminate it and record it and study it. So a lot of interesting things there. And and actually, you'll find animals in there. Bats. That's one thing. You go to these places, you got to be, there's bats in these caves. You got to be protecting all the bats and such. But people, living there. There's Native Americans from way back have lived in these caves. Along there, it's National Monument. For one instance, criminals from the law often found them as a good refuge to hide out in the lava tubes because they're really hard to get to. They're really hard to get into, and they're really hard to find, even if you know it's there. Some of folks like that didn't want to necessarily have anything to do with the rest of society would wander off places. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good shelter, right? Like,
I mean, there's problems living in caves.
I was going to say, well, if it would, we would think there'd be more people living in lava.
Yeah, there's health concerns.
What?
So vitamin D. So we need the sun, UVB
that's
for vitamin D.
But that's any underground.
I mean, I guess, but I'm just pointing out CO2 buildup in cave systems and
moisture in them.
Moisture.
And such. Some of them actually have ice all year round too, because you get this weird thermal effect. Where literally, there's one cave I was in, there was literally, I think, 3 to 4 meters of ice. You go in, you have to crawl through it because it's so narrow. But in reality, the cave itself is 4 meters deeper. It's just completely with ice. It just or melts. It's some amazing ice formation to find on the ground in these places.
Yeah. So temperatures. I mean,
that sounds like fresh water to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's probably mineral stuff in that water. Yeah. So
you're packing your bag. You're ready.
I'm ready to go.
No. So you have radon, the radioactive odorless gas that can affect you. That are found in caves. So so there are conditions. We need food to eat. So if you are living in a cave, you have to then grow things to eat. So there are some challenges. It's not just go down in the cave and set up shop. But there are
some. The other thing is you get the day-night cycle.
Yeah, circadian rhythms. That's right.
The European Space Agency, they actually have a program where they'll take astronauts down in their caves as part of kind of exploration kind of training and such. And it's called Caves, actually. It's a really unique name, but it's a really cool program they have. And it's over to the lava tubes over in the Canary Islands. And you go down and you'll spend days and days, a week or more down in the caves. And your sense of day night is just completely gone because you have no seeing of the sun, the sunrise, sunset, and all those types of things. So, but it's a really good analog to just, how to go and do exploration in extreme environments.
Yeah.
I have a question about that, if you don't mind. How long does it take for people to get off their circadian rhythm when they're underground?
So
I wouldn't be the right person to ask that
question.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to say,
but it does happen. I know there's one, I don't know the researcher's name, but he did a self-study. He put himself down in a cave for, maybe you've heard of this, Joe, but a really super long time. I mean, weeks, months or something. And when he came back out, he was completely skewed. He didn't take a clock or watch or anything with him. But when he came back out, when it was done, he thought only like a certain amount of time had passed and it had been, I don't know, twice that or something. It had been significantly longer than the time that he thought it actually passed.
Michael Free in 1962. Okay. He actually went down with no timepiece. So this is a self-sign. I think this is a study you're thinking about. And his internal day extended to 24.5 hours, then drifted to about 48 hours. And so by the end of his 2 months, he only thought he'd been down there 34 days. Then in 1972, he repeated the experiment for about 6 months, but he completely psychologically unraveled around month 4. He was crying without cause, inability to concentrate, very suicidal coming out of this experience. So yeah, it doesn't.
Well, how does he adapt back to society after that?
Well, right. I mean,
what was his name again?
Michael Free.
Did they follow up on him?
SIFFRE. So.
Okay.
The follow up. Did they do that?
I don't know. It was
check in
He
on
was
him?
he was like a self.
On him.
It was like a self experiment. Like he just. No.
Well, he didn't really tell anybody. He just I'm checking out.
Just did it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They might have set him back down there.
And if something happened like that today, they'd have their own YouTube channel. And
no, you're right. Like sensory deprivation. So that's a big thing. 24, 48 hours, you start having full psychosis symptoms. I mean, it is the sun sets in its day-night cycle. That sets a lot of our rhythm and our biology. So take that away, then you will become skewed. Your biological internal clocks will just get off, and then that throws everything in a whack. So
and think about people like solitary confinement and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how much it's a similar
underground experience. That's right.
Yep.
It's most similar to the astronauts out in space too. On the space station, so they get 16 sunrises and sunsets every day on the space station going around
because they're running around. Wow.
So you have to really maintain that day-night cycle just by the watch and make sure you do that and shut down at the right time. Otherwise, you'd end up in the same issue. Crew going out to the moon, they're not going to have sunrises and sunsets. The sun's going to be there the whole time. For 10 straight days, except for when they go out around the moon. Maybe I'm not sure if the orbital dynamics completely blocks it from the sun even there or not. But so it's but there's ways around. You have to be disciplined. You have to, you just set up something that is a day-night cycle that you follow. It's same thing if we put the sun bases and such on the moon someday and put them on the ground. It's a lot of benefits to actually doing that, like you said initially, Joe. But it's a hard thing to get them there.
Another thing, you can full spectrum lighting. I looked that up. And like I said, that mimics the solar benefits that you would get, the intensity and color temperature of the sun over the day cycle you would get. But that will only partially compensate. So, and then you also need significant power.
And would that give you vitamin D?
You can. If it has a full spectrum, you would be able to get some. But you probably would take supplements for that.
So how does vitamin D work? Is it something about the sun interacts with something in your body and creates it? Or I don't understand how that.
Yes.
That's the next podcast. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And vitamin D deficiency is such a what's the word?
Prevailing or prevalent. It's very prevalent in our society. Yeah.
And it causes so many mental health issues and other health issues.
Yeah.
That's true. It's synthesized in the skin where ultraviolet B radiation breaks down T-dehydrocholesterol into previtamin D3, which then is isomerized thermally into vitamin D3. So that's the process of.
Is that the only kind of vitamin that works like that, or is there other?
I think that's the only vitamin that I know of that works out in humans. But
I'm sorry, I'm just curious. So I was gonna say, when in Fallout, or
I was just about to bring that up next.
Right, or in Silo. Is it Silo?
Silo, yep,
Yeah.
or Wool was the
They obviously create these. That's all man-made. That's not in caves. But then they man-made the sun to come up, and it seemed like, right?
Right.
In both of those shows, they have like this.
They have some sort of cycle. They maintain that. Yep. Yeah, but the other problem with those shows that, I mean, they're generational volts or caves. So if you go on the cave generationally, your body will start to adapt. So you will start to have these adaptations. But the funny thing with those shows and the fictional thing is that they just come back to the surface and they're like totally like,
It's no issue.
the full sun is right hitting them.
No
They're running
problem.
around, no muscle atrophy. They've kind of totally, they've never lost the adaptation, even though true
Although
cave adaptation would take, millennia. But you see no ill effects of living underground. That's really
not very
depicted.
plausible.
There's another good show. I don't know, you probably have heard of The Expanse. It's a
Heard of
sci-fi show and such. The others, the solar system's colonized basically and such. But there's Mars is colonized, and a lot of folks live underground in Mars, so they're all in closed space. And that to that point of seeing the sun and things, that show does a really good job of like when the Martians, human Martians come to Earth, and they're just out in the open. They don't like it.
right. Yeah.
In general, there's like this adjustment that they have to take. Some of them just can't. In the show, they've actually kind of hit on that it would be unnerving, a concern. You've got generations essentially living underground that now have the wide, expansive open places and big skies, and it's just,
I was gonna say agoraphobia would probably be a big one, that you've been in this tight, confined space, and now it's just
Right.
open, everything there. But there are something that's troglobites.
Can you say that again?
Troglobites. They're
Troglobites.
I like that.
They're
word.
obligate cave dwellers. So they can only live. These are animals that have truly adapted to living in a cave environment.
Moles.
They can live nowhere else, right?
Nowhere else. So you have
yeah.
the blind cave fish,
Mm-hmm.
and so there actually is a fish. There is a terrestrial species that's related, but this is the blind cave fish. They've lost their eyes and pigmentation, so they actually don't have an optical structure, and they live in their environment. No pigmentation. You have the Olm salamanders.
Is the
And so-
anglerfish on there too?
What's that?
The anglerfish? Isn't that the one with the little dangly bit on its
That
face?
lives in the bottom of the ocean?
Yes.
Yes.
Little list.
It's not. It doesn't live in a cave, so it
Doesn't?
wouldn't be on the list. No,
Oh.
it lives at the bottom of the ocean.
That's a similar thing.
I mean, yes, it's nothing like the bottom of the ocean.
I mean,
Yes,
it's similar in the fact it's dark always. And like,
Yes, okay,
right.
no light. That's about it. But
I mean, like with the
one is
eyeless part.
I mean, I think so. I don't know. Are anglerfish eyeless? I thought they had eyes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they have eyes.
Sure.
All I know about them is the
It's
Finding
very
Nemo.
yeah. And then it's Olm salamanders. They're really interesting because they can live. It's speculated to live like 100 years, and they can go about 10 years without food. So you just can kind
They're
of hang
kind of
out.
like extremophiles.
They are. All these animals are like extremophiles. And then pale cave spiders was another one I saw, which once again don't have eyes. So, there's species of spiders we all know terrestrially, but these don't have eyes. And so, yeah, they're really interesting. But they live in cave. They made a go at it. So life can find a way, as I said. So
Do moles fall under this or no?
moles? Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah.
But they kind of come out.
They
then,
can
too.
come out. All right. I mean, they can,
But
but they live mostly below ground.
they make their own caves.
They make their own caves. They're cave diggers.
Yep.
Yeah, but you go through. People have tried to simulate this too, like the biospheres. Are you familiar with those tries that we've
out in
had?
Arizona.
Yep.
Is that still there?
Yeah,
But this
it
truck,
is.
yeah,
It
yeah.
actually is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's maintained. You can go and use it for various types of experiments and such. But that initial one where they tried, that was pretty crazy because they tried to have all these different. I think it's biomes, if I got the right term there.
Yep.
In just one huge environment, and it didn't work. It was too close. It ran together. I think they had problems with insects, and then they also had social
Issues, yeah.
the crew. It was just it was. There was a lot of interesting results that came out of it.
It was like
it's still there, and it's definitely used. You can go out and see it even.
There was
Maybe.
one and two. Yeah, they had it was like a bad reality show because I think fractions formed. And
Oh.
they hated each other. Oh, and then oxygen problems, so oxygen levels dropped pretty severely. Like they totally underestimated that.
That's
So
not
yeah.
underground though.
It was above ground, but I think
Right.
the idea is that if you're in a domed
It's
enclosure,
similar to being
you
underground,
or
but,
underground, right? Because
but they saw the
yeah.
sun and everything because
Yeah,
it
they
was
didn't-
like, yeah.
They didn't have to worry about that problem. I mean, they had enough, as Ernie was saying, they had a
They had
number of
other
other problems.
Well, Amazon is
Wow,
doing
no
that
problem.
show that's going to be like a Fallout shelter, where it's like a reality show where they put
Yeah.
contestants in a biome essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, are they trying to
They
emulate this?
recreate that.
Yeah.
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 I
I
didn't
mean,
hear about it. Is that a new show that someone's a reality show?
Yeah. It is, and it's like,
Okay,
oh,
good.
like
Good TV.
yeah.
Fallout in general, their whole
know,
thing
that's-
is,
And is it going to look like the Fallout?
oh, I
shows?
hope
They're
so.
gonna have like the
know what
risk.
I mean?
But like
Yeah.
the Vault Tech company in the show is doing different experiments
It's not
in each
called
of these
Voltec.
vaults.
No, I
Oh,
think
oh.
it's kind of like,
In
you
the
know,
show Vault Tech, the company,
right.
No, I mean, we went from Amazon reality show,
which is going to be
their
their Fallout.
No.
they're
inspired.
experimenting
It's
on
going to be
people.
inspired.
Are they
because-
experimenting on them?
No, but like
Okay.
in
Probably.
Squid, you know, like Squid Games.
I know. I'm saying, but
was
it-
a Squid
yeah, I'm
Game
at-
reality show, so they
I'm asking, are we still talking the real reality, or the fictional Voltec? That was my question. Like, have you moved to
Oh,
the
I moved
fictional?
on.
Okay, right. That's
I
what I was
jumped.
clarifying. Not, I got everything else. It was just I thought he had moved on, and I was like, is this part of the show still? Like the
I-
reality show?
I didn't move.
And then he
on
was
yet.
joking, and then you just kind of went with it, and I'm like, let's
No,
take a
tell
step
us
back.
when you move on.
I
Yes.
can't.
Yeah, a little segue would be nice. But I
Train
was-
has already left.
I was going to say, but you have the luxury, like speaking of vaults, I mean, there people are buying bunkers and having those installed. But then historically, we've had bunkers. I was doing this in the Green Barrier in West Virginia. It was like it was this
Yeah.
congressional bunker.
Actually, not
built-
too far from where I've been.
yeah. So that was
Yeah.
really interesting. That it was a luxury resort hotel kind of thing that they kept it operational and secret for like 30 years. And then it was only decommissioned in the 90s
And that
after
was-
journalists exposed it. So
And that was the government.
that was a government funded
Oh wow. But
facility.
doesn't-
Yeah.
It's like the one though that after 9/11 actually got put back into use, or was that another?
really?
There's another one in Maryland, maybe I'm thinking
Yeah.
of, but there's a couple of them around.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, don't they have something like that where they?
And Cheyenne Mountain, is that the NORAD has a facility underground?
NORAD, yeah.
Yep.
But there is
Yeah.
the one that you're talking about, Joe. And maybe it's Greenbrier, or maybe it's the one in Maryland here. But they, as far as I know, I was watching something. They actually have it still in use, I believe, because after
Wow.
9/11, they realized they need to have,
Oh.
continue. They call it continuation
right.
of government yes, or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but this one became like a luxury resort. Like it was more than a last survival bunker. It was a
I'm sure there's some of those around
Yeah.
that we don't know about.
there's
No.
actually out west, some old missile silos are. If you look,
Mm-hmm.
if you look up on YouTube or something, there's I don't know the guy's name, but he's buying these missile silos and converting them into luxury bunkers for the end of the world kind of thing. And there's, I don't know, like 10 or 15 families, whatever it. Each one gets a level that's essentially an apartment. They have water, storage, they have swimming pool, they have, all the toilet paper you could possibly need. It's just it's just fully supplied with everything. And it's just, like I said, I wouldn't even want to guess how much they are. But yeah, this guy, he's selling them out there. People are buying them.
I wonder if there's an
Yeah.
Airbnb.
probably. I mean, that would be there.
In a
You go.
bunker.
There is.
Are there
Sure is.
Airbnbs?
Of course.
Yeah, I apparently I spent too much time watching YouTube. One of the channels there's
Not a sponsor, but
couple that go around traveling all over the place, and one of their episodes is Airbnb and a bunker kind of thing.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah.
wow.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, luxury bunkers is a thing. There's companies that sell them. You can get them, and yeah, they hold a
Well,
dozen,
there's,
whatever, and
Well, there's also like preppers.
right. I mean, that's what
obvious- is that
right.
what
That's
you're
kind of
kinda like?
exactly.
I did see that they had a
Um,
missile silo
yeah.
for sale recently. I was like,
Oh, really?
ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be
There you go.
really cool.
You're in. I mean, you're in the lava tube cave.
I'm
so
already
missile
in.
silo. It's a
That's
that's a
like-
step up. I mean,
It's what your means are. You either
Yeah.
get the high end
Exactly.
of the world, or you get the lava tubes.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been that, like the Paris catacombs. I mean, so that was one of these natural caves, and it was at 1774. More than 6 million people are buried there. It was to solve the cemetery graveyard overflow situation in Paris. And so they have these catacombs that are
That's
down there. And
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's cool.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Super creepy,
not if
but
you're
yeah.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I do too.
And if people get lost, I mean, that's like regular
Well-
caves. Like they get lost in these catacombs and cave diving fatalities, like all these kind of
Wow.
things where,
Well,
That's the thing. Like say, they're going in the cave. That's one thing I actually. It's funny. My mom was surprised I ended up doing so much research in lava tubes because there was this one. She was a high school teacher, and she helped to take the science club to a cave one time. She was one of the chaperones at the local cave, and I went along with them. It was just one of these limestone caves, and we had a map, we had flashlights. There was people, but you were directed to, okay, if you don't come out by a certain time, we come in and we get you. And we went in, we knew where we were. We got back to where we thought the beginning was supposed to be. We couldn't find our way out.
oh,
I was just like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
It was just bugging me. Got all this, we're perfectly fine, but I
wow.
wasn't real thrilled. I wanted to get out of the cave and we couldn't figure out. So she was really amazed. But the difference to me, like the lava tubes, you can get lost in them, but it's not the same kind of lost as in one of these limestone caves where it just kind of
meanders.
fall down a hole or something. Where you can fall down a hole in a lava tube too, I guess. But it's just the ones I've been very.
I went.
It's very known which direction you go and what ways out. It's very easy to maintain. You can get lost and some get very intertwined, but in general, they're a lot more linear. Like,
Maybe that kind of inspired you.
what's that?
That experience, maybe that kind of inspired you.
Maybe
Could
it
be
did. Maybe
more-
that's how to defeat that fear.
Yeah, I think it would be unnerving. Something I was reading about caves, but this infrasound at 18-19 hertz. It was like research in the 90s that it's standing waves at this frequency. So this is a sound when resonating in caves. In cave, you have this sound, this infrasound, and it causes anxiety, unease, peripheral vision disturbances, sensation of presence. Like it's really.
If I
so don't
already
know if
have
you're-
that, is it just amplified
Yeah.
then?
But I mean, in these caves, especially when the lighting is low, you're below twilight, you're having this. Is that something I've never been in I've not been in a cave, so
Do we have
I
to
don't
do
know.
a rabbit
So-
hole?
I know. Yeah,
field
we
trip?
have to go field trip.
Yeah, you get very far down. I mean, even the big ones, it doesn't take long until it's just dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, you don't have lights with you. You don't know what you're going to smack your head into something or you trip over something. It's just dark. So
Yeah.
you go with lighting and it's just, you're in a bubble of light basically. So depending on how bright your light is, it's in the lava tubes, some of them go on for a long distance. I really like the big ones just because they're so impressive to me. Just physically, they're just it's this huge, just empty space under the ground. And but you can get into some small ones too. But yeah, it's dark. There's no natural light down there.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we touched on the caves and why they want to do it because we're going to build on surface basis first, I guess. But Mars, there's the atmosphere, so radiation,
It'd be
things like that.
It
So
would be easier to control the atmosphere if it's underground.
it'd be easier to you would get radiation protection going underground as one. Thermal regulation. The caves, even though they're colder, the temperature is
And
constant.
are we talking about caves that exist
that's-
there because they already
Lava
are
tubes
there?
or
Or are we talking about more like the fallout silo kind of thing where you build the caves?
well, I mean,
But
Yeah.
it'd be really the same thing actually,
Yeah.
because once you get underground, it provides on the moon, like you're saying, Joe. It's thermal regulation. It's protection from radiation. And it's also protection from micrometeoroids. So any panel, there's no
Right,
atmosphere, so anything that's coming from outer space is just going to so it protects you from all three of those,
Yeah.
which is really key on the moon and Mars eventually too.
Yeah.
Because there's no radiation protection like there is on Earth with the magnetic sphere and stuff. So
right.
you got to have that, but you got to get down to it, and it would provide a lot. You could actually get some of that on Earth if you cover, or on the surface of the moon if you take the lunar regolith, so the dirt, and you cover up your shelter with that. You'll get some thermal regulation. You'll get some of the protection, like you get some radiation protection, and it's the same idea. You've got this, natural surface on top of you that just protects you from that. So, some of the ideas for underground though is that people have is, one is you put in pre-made habitats.
Right.
Another is that you somehow seal the cave off so that you can, to made George's point there, you can actually then fill it with an atmosphere. But then you got to fill every little crack and make sure you don't have any leaks or many leaks or something like that.
Yeah.
And then there's concern with on Earth, you have earthquakes. So if you have moon, you have moonquakes, Mars, you have Marsquakes, and if it shakes and you're underground, what does that mean? It's structurally sound. Is it not structurally sound? You have stuff falling on you that you start getting leaks. If you seal it, it's all engineering concerns. So it's geotechnical concerns. It's things that you can figure out a way to probably address.
No, I mean, is this a situation where you would combine, where you would build a habitat in the cave? You don't have to use the natural walls of the cave. Can you build, have a structure within the cave that would have some movement and things like that? Or is that just...
Yeah, so you can take a shelter down there, maybe like an inflatable shelter, or just say some sort of structural shelter to maintain your atmosphere, and then you get the other protection from the cave, like you said. So even if it does shake a little bit, assuming it doesn't just pull out, collapse on you, you're not having to worry about the loss of atmosphere, that part of it.
Right.
So
how do we deal with the earthquakes and stuff on Earth with, underground bunkers and stuff like that? Like,
you put them where there's not earthquakes. No.
Well, can't earthquakes happen anywhere? Like, isn't that like a thing?
Some places
are a little more right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're more likely to happen in certain places than others, though. Like, around where the plates all can meet up. So boundaries between tectonic plates on the Earth, those are, primary locations for earthquakes, where you see major faulting and things like that. So if you're in the center of a plate, you're less likely. Still, there's other things that can cause earthquakes. Like on the East Coast, you can actually there was some really severe earthquake. There was a very severe earthquake, I don't know, probably 20 years ago now or something. And it had to do with the soil. And so it's really augmented basically because of the structure. So the earthquake itself was relatively small, but it was augmented, as I said, by the structure of the Earth itself. So, but you would know that. You can study the Earth, you can study the moon, you can find those locations. There's not plate boundaries on the moon like there is on Earth, but if you do enough studying, you might be able to start figuring out where they occur versus where they don't, or just how significant it would be built to them, just like California.
Interesting.
I think the other thing in a lot of these is food production.
I was gonna ask that
That's
next.
really like, and it was
you can grow potatoes on Mars.
You can grow potatoes.
But I have to have enough ketchup.
Something was this from NASA, late 70s research, the CELS, the Controlled Ecological Life Support System project, where they were trying to determine what you would need, but it was like a crew of 4 needs approximately 50 meters squared of agricultural growing space per person to be nutritionally self-sufficient. And so that's quite a bit of area to grow food and crops. And a lot of shows, especially fictional, usually they got one little room with some plants in it. They're like, they got 100, 200 people in this compound. You're like, hold on, this little...
the train in...
right. Snowpiercer, right.
Snowpiercer, they had the one car that had the...
That's going to satisfy everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think they had like the little jelly cubes, which is probably like Soylent Green. So for people that haven't seen that, I'm not going to spoil it. Not going to spoil it, but it was Grandpa.
I think you just spoiled the rats.
Yeah, I know, but food is one, and water recycling, right? Because you have these closed environments and waste. Hopefully you recycle some of it
to fertilize your land. And
like Nick was joking, like on Earth with ice, whatever, you have a water source and you can probably purify it and make it potable.
I don't think he was joking.
I was serious.
On Mars, on the moon, water is a hard commodity to come by. I think they think there's frozen ice at the poles. But
so there is, but I mean, like as far as recycling, the space station actually does that. And it recycles. I just saw it recently too. It's some very high percentage of the water. It's high 90s, I believe.
Wow.
They are able to recycle, and it's been recycled multiple times now over the years. So it has saved hundreds, if not thousands, of kilos of transporting water to the space station from this. And so there's some of that technology is actually getting developed. Carbon dioxide, removal, things like that. So a lot of regenerative work on station is being done. But to the point of doing it on the moon's got we believe it has water or frozen ice. We'll say it has molecules. So anything that will freeze as a was there, but it's not going to be, we don't expect it to be chunks of ice like, hey, we found a big glacier. It's like,
Right.
it's like, imagine a bunch of sand that had some water in it, just a little bit of water in it. I'm not even talking much. And it's just kind of all in there. We're going to have to figure out a way to process it to get it out of there. And it's going to be something that's on a large scale as far as like most likely needed to get enough to provide for any sizable type of community on there. So there's going to have to be it's going to be a problem that needs to be figured out is how do you do it efficiently to actually provide. We think there's plenty there. It's just
getting it out, right? Extracting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you have stories with Isaac Asimov's Caves of Steel, when there was like hundreds of thousands of people in the cave living, doing their best lives. That structural, how you handle these systems is not trivial to do. Like this, the space station, there's, at one time, 6, 7 crew members?
Seven, I mean, it's
6,
standard
7.
7. They're calling us 7 crew members now.
Stop.
They don't.
I got to throw something at Mary. Hold on.
See, I said 6 and another number, and that sparked.
Hold on.
In the studio.
Joe, how much do you like that guitar?
Nice, well played.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Okay. But no, yeah, you've hit on a bunch of things, Joe. It's like, you leave the cave was just a shelter, but it's getting, and it might be large enough, but then it's getting the volume that you've enclosed. Now you can make it or to provide, what you need there. Food, you have to get enough source water, oxygen, carbon dioxide removal. And it's getting the area, like you say, to support, because we just, on Earth, it's just, we got half the U.S. that can grow stuff basically for the population or probably more, and it's having enough on the moon or Mars or something. It's kind of one of those things like a science fiction. You got, I go back to a movie or a show, The Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
They do some of this stuff really well. They really thought about it in there where they have like the moons of, the moons of Saturn or Jupiter, I forget which is that they essentially have as the agricultural breadbasket of the solar system.
Right.
And it's feeding all these asteroid communities and all these space stations where if they go under, that's it, because that's where it actually comes from, because this is needs to be done on massive industrial scale. So I mean, that was that time machine with the Morlocks. Remember, the Morlocks lived underground, and you had the Eloys lived above ground,
and
they would feed. I mean, once again, it was a cannibal situation, but nonetheless, the people on the surface was feeding the people below. That was the idea there. So there was, some thought to that back in, that was also late 1800s?
Joe, I think I have a question. I think it might be for you.
Uh-oh.
Is there plant life in caves and stuff?
So there's no, because of the light situation, there's no light. So you're not going to have photosynthesis because you need light to have photosynthesis. But I bet you would have other bacterium that are close to that, but you might not have you won't have photosynthetic organisms.
But
so,
if
let me correct.
grow lights, can you grow stuff underground then?
Sure.
Is the soil going to be okay enough for it, or is it?
I mean, if you're bringing the lights, you can bring the soil.
What if you didn't pack the soil?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you can. I mean, you're kind of in.
Listen, I come with lights, no soil.
Well, I guess if you have water, you could do it where you grow with hydroponics. Another thing we haven't talked about maybe is doing genetic editing and using some genetic tools to modify organisms to fit our requirements, be it living out in space and or living underground. And so the foods we eat, you can modify. So maybe you do things that are more aquatic. So you would then use algae or cyanobacteria, and then they would actually produce products. So you get a 2-fer or 3-fer. They would actually make different things for you that you can use.
Would that also then
you also then
fix
can eat.
your CO2 problem, your carbon problem, right?
That could be a way to scrub. Yeah, I mean, the balance is right. Yeah, I mean, you would need the balance probably isn't there. I don't know if they would use as much CO2 to get rid of it or vent it.
A lot of stuff.
But
I'm just trying to plan my own.
Yeah. So no caves
Cave
as is.
dwelling.
A dark cave will have you're not growing any plants. So be it cyanobacteria, be it algae, be it plants, None. No Jules
Unless-
Verne sun
Unless
underground.
you have your
So-
lights.
Or you have like skylights,
Low
I guess. You
lights.
could have these pockets where you would have.
But some of these, some of these lava tubes, they like say have some sort of, and I'm not the expert on what type of planet, but it is like it's a growth of some sort. Like
Yeah.
say there was golden, silverish colored growth, and it's. But yeah, you have to have the right conditions.
Yeah.
That's certainly not in everyone. It just
Yeah.
happens like the moisture is just right, the growth is right, and it's just that they've adapted to growing and living and gaining their energy without.
Yeah,
this
they would.
stuff.
They live on methane, so like extremophiles. They live on some other carbon source, methane, which is in a lot of caves, so they can actually start growing on other materials like heat vents and thermal vents in the ocean, right? So we're talking about the ocean. We have extremophiles there that can actually use those resources and use alternate kind of pathways to sustain their life. But yeah, it's probably not photosynthetic.
And you probably don't have enough extremophiles to eat.
I don't know if you should be eating
I don't
extremophiles. So yeah, let's
just wanted to say
let's leave those extremophiles. Maybe the spiders. I mean, maybe the
catch
the
some spiders and eat
salamanders
them.
and the
Eat a
the
100-year-old
cavefish.
salamander.
yeah, little crusty 100-year.
Crispy.
Other underground refuges, the Matrix. They were down in Zion. That was an underground. They had to go to the core to get to the geothermal heat because they were going to be cold because they blacked out the sun to stop the machines, and that's why the machines used them as batteries, which it's kind of dumb. But they did that, and and they were down in Zion.
I
So
hadn't
that
thought
was-
about that movie in a long time. Well, yeah, that's right. That was underground, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, they didn't really touch on the food. They had some slop or something they were eating, some sort of mush.
I'm pretty sure it was just
they were-
decomposed
Yeah.
humans.
That's pretty
They're just like,
much it.
these humans eat human food, and
let's
that's
go to-
humans.
Well, I mean, the people they had. I mean, they're living underground. Once again, you need, how would you have this?
Humans.
What are they eating? Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, that would be the.
I'm not going to next world.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably grow yeast.
I'm all stringy and tough.
Talk about fungi, but yeast. You could grow yeast, fats of yeast, and I think that's what they did in Caves of Steel, Asimov's Caves of Steel. They made yeast like stuff.
Yum.
Yeah.
But then how are you making
Yeasty.
flour for
You don't.
yeast?
No, you just eat the yeast.
Yeah,
Oh,
you don't
The
get
yeast
like
is
bread or
right. You're not making products out of it. It's just,
You're just eating yeast?
You just eat yeast.
Ew.
The yeast cakes, yeast patties
And then how long are you doing that?
for your whole life.
Years.
Years.
Years and years.
How long do you plan on
Oh,
living?
What are we having for dinner today?
Oh,
Yeast.
yeast.
Same thing we have every night.
This meal is yeasty.
Makes that decision really.
Is that what the astronauts are eating? Yeast. What's going on?
Yeah,
there?
that's all they eat. That's all we send them with,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
No, they have
yeast
the fun.
cakes, yeast patties. We even put it in their water for yeast strengths. But, yeah.
They have the fun little freeze dried things.
I know that you get at the Smithsonian, a little pack.
They actually got they have some pretty good food. Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that something that they actually eat though? Those like, I feel like those are too
Dots?
crumbly
Like
and
the
they're
ice
getting in
cream
everything.
Dots.
all the ice cream thing.
Yeah.
That's just for the tourists.
Yeah, is that? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I
The
ate one of those.
strawberries, you get the
and it's-
freeze dried strawberries, like that.
They get everywhere.
Well,
We-
It's like the worst combination of a rice cake and whatever else.
It's very like artificially tart. I don't know. I don't think they're real strawberries.
They've got some pretty good food they take with.
Yeah.
And they've got M&Ms. They've got, although I think they're called sugar-coated candies. I can't call them M&Ms. But then they've got other, they have a whole. You just add a little bit of water, rehydrate it, off you go. It's just like food we have here on Earth for the most part.
Now,
Yeah.
you were involved with astronaut training. So how do they get prepared to go into these kind of extreme conditions?
Yeah, so I was a number of years that trained them for spacewalks and just general, crew training, and then I was like to go on console for them. So, but yeah, we pretty much we don't train them at all. We just put them on a rocket and launch them and say good luck.
I'm so in. Let's go. Screw the underground. I'm going to space.
Everything's going to be fine. Just get some sun.
There's all kinds of training. Yeah, good luck. We'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
We'll
Don't
see you
go
in a
crazy.
week.
We don't want a horror movie here in space. So
No, we run them through all kind of simulations. Basically, we'll put in mock-ups that look just like the vehicles they're going to be in. We'll run through the timelines, the activities, just like they're going to do in space. If it comes to food or something like that, sometimes they'll have the actual food there. I didn't do that kind of training, but yeah, they go and they actually test out, figure out, well, I like this and I don't like that. And they'll make up their own menu.
I thought you meant you taught them how to eat, like you use a fork, you lift it to your mouth.
Well, it probably is.
That's right.
A little sippy cup.
Well, that is a challenge because, right?
Why is
You
it a
see all
challenge?
those things with like astronaut and then like the water's like floating in there. And then,
I think they do that.
I
as
think
a
they
trick
do that
just 'cause
on
it's
purpose.
fun.
They're not. Yeah, they're not. That's not how they eat their
it's
dinner.
just like the ice cream
It's
dog.
similar to down here. Like I say, you rehydrate it, you warm it up, and you fill up your drink bag, or you make some coffee, and yeah, it's just that you have to drink it all with a straw. But the food, you can open up the packet, use a fork, spoon, whatever. You know, it's actually one of the astronauts. He actually figured out the way to make a space coffee cup where you can put in it and actually kind of drink like he was drinking from a cup. He used like surface tension and things like that.
Wow.
Kind of slick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's.
I feel like we've
come
covered
down.
a lot this episode.
We did, yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, it seems like we're ready to go live in some caves in space. Like
Absolutely
we're
not.
like,
I'm in.
Actually, when I was a kid,
It's the high end ones.
yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
when I was a kid, that's funny. When I got really excited thinking that in the future we would live in caves on the moon, and I was super psyched to live in a cave on the moon, and nothing could tempt me away from the planet Earth. I am not.
I thought you were going to go with, I used to live in a cave.
yeah, right.
No,
yeah.
but no, I used to think that was like just,
That would
like,
be, yeah.
well, it felt very snug and cozy in the 60s illustrations, so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what
I
they
mean,
get
it's a
away.
realistic possibility. It's got a lot of advantages. It's just being able to get it down there and start it, and finding the right entrance into it and having the boards you can work with and getting your hardware in there. There's actually it's on this note, National Geographic has a neat little mini series. It's several years old now on Mars and the initial cruise to Mars. And it basically evolves into that they found their whole goal, the initial crew was to find a lava tube. And then they were able to expand because they can use the lava tube for all the advantages it has. And then the future episodes actually show how they've expanded this into a small community living down in this enormous lava tube. So it's certainly down the road as we get the capability to actually an infrastructure in place, they could come into play.
Yeah.
And also,
Go ahead.
this one I think scientifically too, it got access to stuff that you're not going to have on the surface. It's going to have access to things that are tens of millions, hundreds of millions, potentially billions of years old geologically that you're not going to have access to on the surface. So from a scientific standpoint, there's a lot of interesting things to learn by getting into these caves as well. So you got the practical end and you got the scientific end. Do
you think
we'll come together?
if you get into these caves, what's the odds life is there or the remnants of life? I mean, is that where we would best find it? I mean, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's a good question. On the moon, it's unlikely. Mars, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I would just be guessing as that's not my area of expertise, but the more benign environment. Now, it's still going to be very low pressure, just like the rest of Mars, but the benign, thermal environment, reduction in radiation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I have no idea. You would have those advantages. So yeah.
Wait, so you said you work for NASA and you don't know if there's aliens out there? I don't know, man.
I didn't say I don't know, I guess. I can't
Damn it. I thought I was going to get him on that one.
Yeah.
tell you. What's funny is that though, because I actually, when I worked at NASA, I would go to Kennedy Space Center sometimes to get ready for the shuttle launches. And there was this one building that we had all this, a lot of hardware and stuff was being processed through, taken out to the shuttle. And there's this one area that's this giant door on it. It looks like an enormous freezer door or something like that. And somebody, as a joke, had put in a little handwritten 8.5 by 11 paper, whatever, said "frozen aliens" instead or something.
Or did they?
Yeah, or was that? Yeah, no.
They wanted it to look like a joke.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, so I think we're coming to the end. Yeah, we covered a lot. I mean, we see the fictional stuff. Matrix, you start seeing it. You can think of other environments. One that I threw out, Severance, the Apple TV show.
Mm-hmm.
They live underground?
Well, they live in that building, which is it's no windows. There's no outdoor.
They
It's
did
just
have that
very-
little outdoor field trip thing. Remember?
Well, they went. Well, they did go outside
Well,
somewhere, but
that
that wasn't a
seems like
mistake,
that was
right?
still on
Right.
in the
something-
compound.
right?
or something.
Right. It was like artificial. Yeah. No real light. So no, it's a very, the ecosystem of Severance is like it's like a building, but it might be underground. The elevator, they don't really disclose which way they go.
It's like the back room.
Yeah. It's like the back rooms. There you go. So, but yeah, you see this in fiction a lot, and our fear, the horror of being in an enclosed space.
Even just basements are kind of creepy, scary sometimes.
Basements, yes.
Except this basement's
The
very
basement
cozy.
studio. Yeah. We're down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Our bunker.
yeah, in the bunker.
It is. This is a very cozy basement.
Yeah. Ernie, do you have some final thoughts? Or
It looks like
Nick,
it
or-
is.
It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this has been great. Really enjoyed talking with you guys. This is a really fun evening. So I appreciate you guys inviting me. And it's, like I say, the exploration, we'll see where it goes. There's possibilities out there. There's definitely advantages to caves. There's a lot of benefits to them, but, it's going to take some time. This is today, like I say, today, Artemis II.
Yep.
It's the first step, finally getting back to trying to do some of this stuff and going out there and exploring these planets and seeing what we can do. So it's exciting. Exciting day from that perspective. And yeah, I've had a really nice time talking with you guys. If you all deem me worthy enough, I would love to do this again sometime.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. We will.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I do have a question.
Oh.
I don't know if Nick has.
I did, but if you have one,
No, go for it. I mean, maybe we can both do it. We got a little time. But I was going to ask, and everyone can do it, is would you go live in the caves of Mars? So you get the option. Are you packing up? Is that what you're going to ask?
No, I was going to say what fictional.
Oh, we can do that one
Yeah.
too, yeah. But let's real life caves of Mars. Like we've got something, we got a structure, and they say, Dr. Bell, we need you.
So I'll be honest, it's why I want to say I have to live in a cave is why I do what I do. But my career, I could go live in a cave without doing what I do, actually. But my career is, ever since, even before I met Joe, even growing up, this space exploration was just like, kind of, I think Mary, you might have mentioned too, growing up, it was just so interesting and really piqued my interest, like the first shuttle launch and
Yeah.
such. And so would I go? Yeah, that's what I've been trying to. They keep not giving me a ticket. I don't know why. I haven't got that ticket yet. So, but yeah, I would love to go and explore. Yeah, I think that exploration is just part of what humans need, and it's part of what as a human society need to keep pressing forward. And it's personal level, yes, but society level too. I think it's just if we don't, we stagnate. We got to keep seeing what's over the next hill, what's around the next corner, and this is part of it. And would I want to come back to Earth, though, to your question? Probably so. Nice to see you guys again, a few other people in the family. But yeah, I think it'd be an amazing adventure.
Yeah. I would say, too, we didn't mention this at the top, but Ernie and I, we went to college together at Penn State Barons, and our rooms were right next door. First year, Perry Hall, which was like living in a cave with its unsteady
windows.
We did have windows, but
Well,
other than that, if you're going to have heat some nights or whatever. But yeah, that's how Ernie and I, that's how long
last
we've
time I
known
was
each
there, I
other.
actually had a new roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they have heat.
Yeah, right.
So, Joe, would you go to Mars?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
No, I think they need electron microscopists there, study the life that, that we'll find, or maybe not find. I don't know. Or we bring the life, right? I mean, no one talks about that. If we start dropping things on the surface or in these caves, which can maybe sustain life, do we now create new extremophiles that live on the surface of Mars or any other planet that we send probes to? I know when they send these things, they try to sterilize it. They try to do their best, but it's not 100%.
I have a theory, Joe. Don't worry.
That's a whole other discussion. That'd be really interesting one to have, because planetary protection is this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
there's two sides to that story. There's, keep it pristine. And then there's the side, like you're saying, it's like, well, let's make use of this. How can we make use of it? So that would be a really interesting discussion.
Yeah. And not like they did in Total Recall. They lived in the caves and then they had the oxygen generating machine. Like that wouldn't work the way if you guys aren't familiar with that, go watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I just
Total
remember
Recall.
their eyes popping.
That's right. Yeah.
out.
Because they were out in the atmosphere and then the oxygen flowed over them and then they could breathe. Like the atmosphere created in like 10 minutes or something. So yeah.
Lucky for them.
So we already know Mary
A lot of
said
hand waving
no.
in there.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Mary's
No,
staying.
this is a hard no for me. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay here while your kids
Send a
gallivant.
postcard.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, would you do an Earth cave? Would you go into, like, they go, hey, we're opening up Cave City, and Mary, would you like to join us in Cave City in Utah? I don't know. Where's a Cave City would be at, Ernie? Like, is that?
I feel like that's a Midwest thing.
It just throws up his Ernie throws up his hands, gives up. No, but I would certainly visit Cave City. I have visited caves when I grew up in Southwest Virginia, and then there's a natural bridge, and then there's cave systems in there, all throughout the Blue Ridge Mountains, and they're really quite lovely.
Cool.
Yeah, very much explored. I am not a Well, there's the movie The Descent,
right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
So the movie The Descent is just like, this is why you don't explore caves. You know.
That is why you
spelunking.
explore caves.
No, absolutely not.
Is it
No.
spelunking?
Yes.
Isn't that the cave?
Yeah, spelunking. Yeah. But yeah.
Georgia?
I'm
Looks like-
also a little claustrophobic too.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I don't think I want it. I don't know. I think maybe if it's a luxury bunker Airbnb, that would be fun.
It would be fun to visit. I certainly wouldn't want to live there. No.
And we already know
Yeah,
Nick's.
Nick's ready to go.
Oh,
I'd
Nick's
go.
already
His
there.
bag is back.
Only thing is, I don't think I'd have enough to offer to anyone on Mars.
They need workers, man.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I bet you.
They need coffee.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
they'd want you to
The
roast some
food,
coffee.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, they have that was the show For All of Mankind, where they go. If you've seen, it's like an alternate history on Apple Plus TV, and they have that whole thing. And the Mars bases are started, and they have recruited workers from Earth that come there just to labor, because they're building these structures under. I think they're underground. There's some above ground, but then they're underground. Yeah, there's a combination of both. They did have some food pots, which was nice to see. They did actually were growing corn, which kind of an interesting choice of foods to grow. But it's interesting to run through, and it made a good scene. But I don't know if that's the food stuffs.
I mean, I can cook for people. Yeah, sure.
there you
Is
go,
that
Joe.
worth my?
Yeah, they had a Domino's there, and For All of Mankind, they had like a Domino's. They had like bars. I mean, so yeah.
Oh, I don't do corporate stuff.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So, well, if they're punching your ticket, it's expensive probably too. I don't know what's a per person cost to fly. I mean,
To go to space?
yeah, to go to space.
Yeah, wow.
Not a pretty price, like for fuel and stuff. Like, is there, the weight?
Yeah.
I mean, just is there some ballpark bottom dollar? Not we're trying to fund an entire space program, but we've commercialized it. Is there like a number? Like, would it be 10,000?
I'm trying to remember what it was. It seemed like it's changed. It was like, I want to say it was in a ballpark of 10,000 or something like that, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's by the order of almost 10, so maybe 1,000. It depends on the rocket too. To send something. It's just, it depends on how like SpaceX, they're launching those Falcon 9s and they've really gotten the price down,
Right.
like an order of magnitude probably. But then it's like the SLS, the one that launched today, a very expensive rocket. It's, it's on the order of a couple $1 billion, I believe, per rocket or something like that. So it varies widely, but there's definitely ways to make it efficient. And SpaceX looks like it's starting to do that now. So yeah.
I'm just not going on the Spirit Airline version of it.
Right.
It just depends on what do you want the oxygen? Do you want the food?
Do you want a seatbelt or not? Just hang on. Just hold on to the strap.
You're all right, outside or inside.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's like a Fifth Element. They had the little pods you go to sleep in. Like they put you in and you fall asleep.
Oh,
and
I
then
can do that. Yeah.
Launch you off. Yeah.
I'd be down for a sleep pod.
Cool.
Give me a good little nap.
All right, Nick, you wanted to.
Yeah. And so what would be the one fictional underground society that you'd want to go to?
Oh, underground society. Boy, it's actually, I don't know about underground society, but just think about fictional. It's like I'm torn between For All Mankind and The Expanse.
Yeah.
I think that For All Mankind, that alternate history there would be so amazing to be a part of in that development.
Yeah.
But The Expanse, to see actually, in theory, what the solar system has become. It's not just from the technical side for either one of those. It's the social, economic, it's all those types of things. There's a really neat book series, the Mars trilogy, Red Mars, Green Mars.
That's right. Yeah.
Blue Mars,
Yep.
Kim Stanley Robinson.
Yep.
And it kind of fits in that same vein. It's just, but I'd be torn between those two for those reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe?
Those are good. Yeah, I said For All of Mankind. I do also that storyline alternate where the space race didn't really end, and we didn't have that dip off almost 50 years. plus that we've lagged now to get back there. So I think that's fun. I don't know. Like if I was just going to go crazy, like do something that's totally unsustainable, the Matrix is fun. I think, yeah, fighting
Oh, that looks
machines
fun to you?
and
eating
eating
that
slop.
gruel?
Didn't they have that
You can always
rave
get
underground
They
too?
got the big rave, right? It's just a big
Joe,
thing
just
that's
admit you
happening.
want to go to the rave.
I just want to go to the party, man.
We can do that
it's,
above ground. We can go to
let's
a rave.
go.
I'll have some
let's do it.
severe anxiety, but
I mean-
let's go.
But I don't, because you have this almost not utopic, but for all of mankind, expanse, these kind of things where they are expanding out into the universe and put good thought into it. You have that, or you have,
It's all
dystopian.
dystopian.
Right. So, I mean, either you're going to pick the best dystopian, either we're doing it because we've messed up Earth, and so now we're doing something.
So it's not really like, let me daydream about
That's
being
right,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
fallout shelter.
Right. I mean, but yeah, so that's, or Silo. I mean, Silo was, or Wool, the novel, but Silo, I think they had it structured. But, once again, there's classism. I mean, it's
And-
also still not,
Yeah.
So if you're going to go full bore, just go Matrix. I can file a Nebuchadnezzar or something. I can do something cool, maybe get
What about
killed
you,
by a
Mary?
machine, but.
What do you think?
Oh, as an underground society?
Like that you would like?
Fictional underground.
I was thinking not necessarily of people, but Rick Therio has been thinking about a new story, and it involves the mycelium network, like mushrooms, an underground network. And I think that's kind of an interesting underground society. Not
You would like to become part of?
no,
She wants to be a mushroom.
but I think
I
that's
would
I
like to
think
be
that's
a mushroom.
I do think that's a fascinating, the way they communicate, why
Come to the Matrix.
Yeah,
Come to
yeah.
Zion with the big party. That was like
Yeah.
mycelium rave.
I think I just need to see sunlight. I think that's just the God's
Yeah.
honest truth,
I
really.
think it's hard to
Georgia?
I think it's hard to fantasize about going to any of those.
If you want
places.
sunlight, I got you. Don't worry.
Okay.
But please, Georgia, go for it.
like I said, I can't really think of one that I would like to visit because they're all like end of the world scenarios.
That's true. Or they're actively
For all
trying to kill
mankind,
you.
Again,
expanse, I mean,
I
those were-
brought this
yeah.
one up already.
Okay.
Which one?
In the Godzilla King Kong Monsterverse, they have the underground that has a sun.
Yeah.
It has a whole
Jules Verne's. I mean, I
ecosystem
guess you
under
could,
there.
if we're going
There's
total hand waving them.
civilization under there.
Okay. I'll come
I-
with you then, Nick.
I thought we were
There's just
keeping this in maybe a little less hand waving.
I
but,
said
yeah.
Fictional.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You wanted
yeah,
to live in the Matrix for a rave.
That's fine.
All right. Well, on
Cool.
that note,
I think that's it. Well, thank you, Ernie.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much for
Yes.
Super
joining
Thank
us.
exciting
you
to
for your
have you on
time.
this day. It was just kind of serendipitous that the launch happened. It went off without a hitch, and we're back. So yeah, that was exciting to get your thoughts on that and that geek out a little bit. I think it's just so fun
I've
to
been
be
waiting for
in
this.
science and then have people really celebrate that. Yeah, thanks. I mean,
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here. I mean, real fun evening here with you guys talking through this stuff.
Cool.
And maybe think of some things I hadn't thought of in a while. And yeah, like you
Awesome.
say, it's interesting though that it just ended up Artemis II launching and it
yeah.
kind of tied in really nice there. And I think that we might be on the verge of, moving forward with some of this stuff again. So yeah, really great evening. Enjoyed meeting everybody, seeing everybody. And yeah, let me know if you want to chat again.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
We have another episode. I think you called it, so we're going to have to talk about that. Protecting solar life, whatever. What was that?
okay.
Oh,
We'll,
yeah, planetary
we'll hold
Yeah,
back
so
on
yeah,
that.
planetary protection, right? Yeah, you have me, Joe.
You got Nick.
You've got Nick.
Georgia.
You got Georgia.
You got Mary.
We've got Mary.
And we went down some deep cave holes.
Deep cave holes. Stay
Love it.
curious. Stay safe. We love you.
Bye-bye.